Welcome to the lesson of Microsoft Excel. So in this lesson we're going to learn that how we are going to build an Excel interactive dashboard. So what is interactive dashboards? So what an interactive dashboard is that it is a data management tool that tracks and monitors key business metrics in a centralized way. With the help of various interactive features, users can explore the data on a deeper level and make well-informed data-driven business decisions. Okay, so without any further ado, let's start off with the lesson. As you can see here that obviously if you want to make an interactive dashboard, what you're gonna need is an array of data. Let's say I don't have that much of a data here, but what I'm gonna do right here is first off I'm gonna cut up the decimals. So I'm gonna use is, let's say I'm gonna select the array again up till here. Okay, I don't need the decimals. Okay, so first off what we're gonna do is make a table out of it. After making the table out of it, we're gonna make a pivot table. So first off, to make a table, first what I'm gonna do is select the whole range, and then we're gonna find or make a table. Okay, so to make a table, what we can do is go to data, or we can just go to insert and then make a table from here. So you can also press Ctrl+T as a keyboard shortcut, but I prefer you using keyboard shortcuts, which is gonna save a lot of time instead of going to insert and then select on table. So I'm gonna do is just press on Ctrl+T, and you will see that it has already specified the data. Okay, let me show you another thing. Now as I've already selected, the previous time I selected the whole array, but this time I'm not going to select the array, but instead I'm just going to click on one of the data in the array and then click on table, and it's still gonna like scan the whole area or scan the whole array and then paste the data over here. Now it's showing me that there is a checkbox over here typed that my table has headers. So if you click on it, then it will already scan that if you have a header on your table. So you can click if your table has a header. So I'm going to click on it, and or it's defaultly clicked on it. So I'm going to just press OK, and after it is done, you will see that your table now has been made. Okay, so after you made the table, now what we're gonna do is make a pivot table out of it. Okay, so first I'm gonna do is select all of it, go to insert, and then click on pivot tables. After clicking on pivot tables, you will see that an interface like this will appear up. After it has appeared up, what you can do is select the table, or what you can do is if you don't have a table, you have to select the data. Okay, as I already have a table over here, so I'm going to just click on or type in table 1, and then what you're going to do is where you want your pivot table to be. If you want it to be in a new worksheet, just click on new worksheet, but if you want it in the existing worksheet, it's gonna make a pivot table over here. As I don't want any hassle and as I don't want less space, so I'm gonna do is make a new worksheet. Okay, and then what I'm gonna do is add this data to the data model, and I don't want that. But if you already need the same type of table in the pivot table, you can select on it and it will paste the same data over there, but I don't need it, so I'm just gonna click on it and then just press OK. And in a new worksheet, you can see that my pivot table has been made, so I'm gonna name it pivot table. Okay, pivot table. Now as the pivot table has been made, I'm going to add or start adding in my data. So first I'm going to do is, let's say I want year. Okay, and what I'm going to do is add an end balance. So what I'm going to do is, let's say sum of the year or sum of end balance. I'm going to keep it in rows. Okay, and sum of end balance will be here. Okay, so row labels, and then I want this. Okay, so I'm going to do is select all of it again, and this time what I'm going to do is make a border so that it does look good. Okay, so as this is done, so what I'm going to do is select all of it again, and from here I'm going to go to pivot table analyze. After going to pivot table, oh my bad, I'm going to go to pivot table analyze, and then what I'm going to do is insert a slicer. Okay, so I'm going to do is click on insert a slicer, but you can also add charts. Okay, so I'm going to do it later on, but first off I'm going to make a chart. So I'm going to do is click on pivot chart. Okay, go to pivot analyze and then pivot chart, and you can make whichever type of data you need. Now let's say I want columns, so select whichever one you want, whichever one you prefer, and it's also going to show you a preview of it. So as I want this one, so I'm going to select this and then just press OK. And now as you can see that this is done, and you can see that there are several of them. Okay, for now I'm gonna do is, let's say I want to type in, well, it should have been sum and balance. Well, that should be the title. And now what I'm going to do is, if you want to change the data or over here, you can also change it. Let's say I don't want 17, I don't want 16, I don't want 15. You can also do it, and you can see that they will disappear. And next, what I'm going to show you is if I don't want any of these objects to appear. So I'm going to do is click on it, right click on it, and then you can all like hide all field buttons on chart. So I'm going to hide all of them, and then from here I'm going to copy this, Control C, and I'm going to put it on the dashboard. Go to dashboard, Control V, my bad, I'm going to copy this, dashboard, paste. And as this is pasted, you can like hold on to Alt key, and this will help you easily like paste the data or paste the table how like aligned and symmetrical. Okay, so that is like a hack how you can do it. Now you can see all of them are now aligned, just except for this one, and now all of them are aligned. So as this is done, what I'm gonna do is keep it over here, my bad, undo, undo. I want them to be locked, so I'm gonna do is, let's say I had to do it over here, but yeah. And now as this is quite done, so I'm gonna do is go to sheet 1 again. Now instead of going to sheet 1, I'm gonna stay here and then delete this data. After deleting this data, I'm gonna cut it to, and then click on the pivot tables, and then I don't want any of those, so I'm gonna deselect them. And now what I want is, let's say I want PV, okay, and then I want return. So what I'm gonna do is sum of PV at rows and sum of return as the return, okay, and we're gonna get the grand total out of it, okay. And I also want them to be, this time, to be like $signed or currency, and but I don't want any decimals, so I'm gonna like remove the decimals. Well, that will be it, or that will help us how we can do it. And now what I'm gonna do is also make a chart out of this, okay. So I'm gonna select all of those, go to pivot table, analyze, pivot chart. Now I'm gonna do is make a line out of it. So I'm gonna select this one to be like, okay, and press OK, and that will be it. And I don't want any of those, okay, I don't want to change any of those, so I'm gonna like hide all the field buttons on chat, and I'm gonna copy this and then go to the dashboard and then paste it. Okay, well, that will be it. Hold on to Alt, okay. I'm gonna squeeze it a bit. Now this is a lot symmetrical. Now what I'm gonna do is make a timeline, okay. To make a timeline, what I'm gonna do is select on this, pivot, design or format, whichever one you want, but I want analyze. So from analyze, what I'm going to do is insert a timeline. So I'm going to click on insert timeline. You can you have field formatted as date, so I'm going to do is make a date function first, or change date source first, okay. So I want to like change the insert slicers, okay. You can also do that, but as I don't have the date functions in it, so I won't be able to do that. But if you have date data in your pivot table or your chart, you will be able to do it, okay. So as I want now imbalance, I can also do that. That is all, like everything is up to me now. I can increase, decrease, or even collapse, or make it like expand it however I want them to be. Now if I don't want them to be row label, I can also change the data, which type of data I specifically need, and deselect the ones which I don't need. And you can see that several types of data has now been removed, and only the selected ones are now here. Now what I'm gonna do here is go to pivot table, analyze, or select all of them. From here I'm gonna go, as those are like really now squeezed, so I'm gonna increase the data table a bit. Let's say I'm gonna like zoom out, and as this is a really big one, so I'm gonna do is keep it like this, and then I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna keep it or make it a bit bigger like this. I'll delete this one. I'm gonna increase the size of this one, and that will be it. And now, as I don't have a date, but I can add in dates from like other data tables, that is also doable, so I can do that. So I'm gonna like make a data one or the date function one. So what I'm gonna do here is copy these dates, and I'm gonna go right here and then add a date. Okay, so I'm gonna do is, let's say I'm gonna paste it over here, Control V. Okay, as I don't have it selected yet, so I'm gonna select the dates, Control C. I'm gonna go over here and then paste it however I want them to be. Now I'm gonna do is copy or select specific ones. So I'm gonna copy this, Control C or Control X. Let's say Control X. Okay, I'm gonna copy this. I'm just gonna paste it right over here. My bad. Let's say I'm gonna paste it right over here. Control X, Control V, and now as it pasted, I'm gonna remove these datas. Okay, as I don't need any of them. So what I'm gonna do is, instead of cash flow, I'm gonna make it to be the date. Now as I have the date, what I'm gonna do is go to the pivot table. From there I'm gonna select our make. Okay, I can select whichever one I want. View buttons, I don't view list. So I'm gonna do is, let's say I want different tables. Now if I want dates, I can select it. Okay, but if it doesn't allow me to, what I'm gonna do is go back to home, go to pivot table or sheet 1. From there I'm gonna make another pivot table, select all of those, go to insert and then pivot table, new sheet. Okay, and then from there I can select on, let's say I don't want the year, but instead what I want is the date. Okay, as I added in date, that's gonna be the year. Go here, year, select on year, sum of the year. Okay, cash flow, that is gonna be it. If you want different type of datas, you can also apply it however you want them to be. Some, let's say I want to add them as rows, or if I want to add them as columns, you can also apply that. That is also going to depend on you. Now when it is done, what I'm going to do is select the whole array, go to pivot table, analyze. From there I can select or like insert timelines. Okay, because it doesn't have field as format as at date. So I'm going to do is, let's make a slicer over here, insert slicer. I want the date and I press OK. As you can see, the date has been fixed. I'm going to copy this, go to the dashboard and then paste it right over here, and that will be the date, and you can select on whichever date you want to be as filtered. Okay, and you can also add in countries if you want to, but that's also going to depend on you how you're going to make your dashboard. Okay, so these are the basics of how you can make a basic or build Excel interactive dashboards by using Microsoft Excel, but not as a macro. So hope you guys understood everything, and thank you for watching this video.